Switch 2 rumors are swirling about, but one of its confirmations may have actually just happened thanks to retailers doing something very surprising. What is happening, Internet? Welcome back to Kwingsletsplays. I'm Kwing, one of the co-hosts of the channel, and today we're talking about a very unique topic. But before we get to that, if you guys could share this video with 5 of your friends and smash that like button, that would be greatly appreciated, as well as let us know about today's topic and how it made you feel in the comment section below. If you're interested or not, we want to hear from you. So, with that out of the way, there's a lot of chatter going around retailers right now, not just about Nintendo Switch 2, but also, we'll say, selected Nintendo Switch titles that are slowly being delisted. So what does this mean? Well, delisting is what happens when some of your favorite games are no longer available to purchase outside of like video game stores where they can easily order those or, of course they have them used. But when delisting happens, that's when prices tend to soar on some of your favorite games because they become difficult to find. Now, I actually have the list of about 17 Nintendo Switch first-party games that are being put on this list as they're being removed from retailers' computers across the United States. Now, I don't know what this details for like Europe and Japan and stuff like that. This only applies to the United States or North America for the time being. Now, it's not something to get upset about. Remember, Nintendo Switch has been around since 2017. We are on the 7th year of the system's existence. The system came out March of 2017, and usually around this time is when Nintendo releases their next console, or at least reveals it. Now, supposedly, there's a Nintendo Direct happening in February, and if they're going to announce this bad boy, meaning the Switch's successor, they need to do so soon, because the holidays will be here faster than you can blink. And if Nintendo needs to start getting that preparation time for their next console, they need to do it now. With E3 not being around anymore, it's kind of hard. Now, keep in mind, when they announced the Wii U and they had that system come out, it was relatively around a 6-month time frame, but that system unfortunately didn't do well. It was under 20 million sold worldwide. The numbers continue to fluctuate anywhere between 14 to 18 to 21 million, so the exact number is very hard to specify. Some publications and NPD numbers, have it lower, some of them have them higher. But the most important thing is the Wii U was not a successful venture for Nintendo, and that's why a lot of these titles that are on the D list actually appeared on Nintendo Switch to begin with. Nintendo wanted to make their money back, which is understandable. So, why are a lot of these games going out of stock? That mostly has to do with, it's time, baby. It's time for the next console. All the signs are there. Unless you're blind, it's literally, right in front of you. So what happens at the end of a console's life cycle? From what I can remember, especially with the N64, Nintendo tends to actually have a lot of games be put into their Player's Choice or their Nintendo Selects option. So Nintendo Selects is where you take and re-release a bunch of games that Nintendo is no longer selling for their original price, and they slash the price. Like I said, they've been doing it ever since the N64, all the way up to the Wii U in some regards. Now, both the Wii U and DS were a little bit slower to get to their Player Select option, but it did happen. We're now 7 years into Switch's life cycle, and there hasn't been an official Player Select option, or where a bunch of these popular Nintendo Switch games were at a lower price. Just remember, some of these games have had price slashes on the eShop, but as far as retail, actual lowered prices of full price games for Nintendo Switch titles, that hasn't really happened all that often. But again, in front of me, I have all of these very interesting games, and some of you have actually seen some of these titles on the channel, and maybe you own them yourselves. But if you would like to pick these up before they're gone from retailer shelves, I would do so probably this month or next month, or, before the summer, because chances are it's going to be really hard to find some of these great games. So one of the first games that's being delisted by Nintendo for retailers is Paper Mario: The Origami King. Now, you'll remember we actually covered this game extensively when it came out, and Amber and I had a lot of fun with it. It wasn't the best Paper Mario game, but it was a pretty solid venture on Nintendo Switch. And what's very surprising to me is with the new Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake coming out this year, I think a lot of gamers would actually like to have another Paper Mario game to be able to play still. And the only way you're going to be able to find this is going to be on the Nintendo eShop or at game stores where, you can get the game used or, pay for whatever the price value is going to increase to. Next up, we have Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which again was a pretty popular Wii U game that was ported onto Nintendo Switch, and it was a lot of fun to cover. Amber and I had a blast playing that game, and we did extensive coverage on that if you want to check out the game for yourself. But, you know, again, if you're interested in this Donkey Kong title, you have to snatch it up or you're going to go bananas trying to find it again. And the other game that is being delisted, according to retailers, is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which came out in 2019, and of course, we covered this game as well. I really enjoyed this title tremendously because I was a big fan of the Legend of Zelda top-down games, and it was a joy to see like this type of style come back into like gamers' hands again. And you know, it was a really fun venture on Nintendo Switch. It's probably not one of my favorite Zelda games, but I really did enjoy the remake, and I think you guys would like that game too. Now, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, that is a surprise because Pikmin 4 just came out, and Pikmin 3 was an okay game. Some people loved or hate it. You know, it's got a mixed reception, but it's a solid experience nonetheless. That game is slowly being, delisted from the computers at many retailers, even after Christmas time. So, I mean, that's kind of crazy. Metroid Dread is a relatively new title, and that is slowly disappearing from retailers' computers, as well as their stock is becoming limited with that, and Nintendo's not reissuing any more of those games. Now, Metroid Dread basically went back to the format that we had with the classic Super Metroid games, but it added a little something to it with having these dreaded creatures come after you, and it almost made it kind of like a horror movie in that regard. But I enjoyed Metroid Dread. Again, covered that game quite a bit, and I did complete it, so it was pretty intense, though. Kirby Star Allies, that's a surprising one because that game's not all that old either. Again, Song and Dance, we've covered that game, was a lot of fun. Kirby games are just amazing, and, it's kind of sad to see this happening, but again, there might be a silver lining. So I know you're thinking, why are all these Nintendo Switch games going the way of the dodo at retailers? And a lot of people are speculating that not only because of Nintendo Switch 2's, upcoming announcement and reveal, but also the fact that, at the end of a system's life cycle, they want to reissue these games at a cheaper price because people will buy them. I don't think that Nintendo is not going to do a player select in the United States, although a lot of people have been kind of worried about that because now we're 7 years into the system's existence and they still haven't done an official Nintendo player select thing, which has made people kind of annoyed because they've been waiting for a lot of these games to go on sale because some of them are really old. Some of them are not so old though. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is also slowly being delisted. And again, covered that game, loved it, was a lot of fun, and the game is actually worth your time. It's a great RPG, and I strongly recommend it. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is another game that is going the way of bye-bye, and that game we actually recently covered for the first time on Nintendo Switch, I believe. And we may have done like a live stream on it when it first appeared as like a long play, but I can't remember that. That also was a Wii U game. It was a Wii U exclusive, and Nintendo ported it over to Nintendo Switch to kind of make up for lack of sales that it had on the Wii U. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of these are Wii U games, full disclosure. Fire Emblem Three Houses is a very, very popular Nintendo Switch title. It sold a bunch, and it also basically revolutionized the Fire Emblem format for, modern consoles. And to see this on the list is just, I'm shocked because, I mean, even recently when Amber and I were out and about, going to Walmart and stuff, I could still see the game in store shelves, and it was selling at full retail price. So, I mean, this game would, kind of really help Nintendo out if it could have its price slashed for like a player select thing, because a lot of people would really fall in love with the characters and the world of Fire Emblem Three Houses. And then we have another Fire Emblem game that just came out last year. Fire Emblem Engage was a mixed bag. I didn't hate it, but I mean, I preferred Three Houses and some of the other Fire Emblem games that released. If you want to check out what our thoughts were on that game, you can check out our live stream series that we did on this channel last year. Yoshi's Crafted World is another shocker for being, slowly pulled from retailers because that game is relatively new. We had a lot of fun with that one as well. And yeah, it's slowly vanishing already. WarioWare, Get It Together. That is another kind of like, what? Because, I mean, feels like just yesterday I covered that game. It's like, okay. Then we have Nintendo Switch Sports. That's a given. Like, that game didn't really do well at all. See, a lot of these games I would be like, yeah, that's a no-brainer that this is being delisted because some of these titles just didn't perform at all. Nintendo Switch Sports was kind of like, hey, you remember all those great things about Wii Sports? Well, we're going to bring that back for you, but it's not going to be the same thing, and also the avatars aren't going to be all that interesting, and you'll never see these characters ever again show up in any other form of Nintendo media. What made Wii Sports so interesting was the little Mii characters that were prominent as Nintendo mascots for both the Wii and Wii U for a long time. So when Nintendo tried to do the whole sports thing again, it just didn't resonate with people as much as it did with Wii and Wii U. And 3DS. Mii's were a big part of 3DS as well. And Mii's tried to make a comeback on Switch, but it just didn't stick. Super Mario Odyssey is being taken away, and that is probably like the biggest like shock, because Mario Odyssey still sells like hotcakes. So just thinking about this, it's like, wait a second, if you're removing Mario Odyssey, that's huge. Because, I mean, that is like one of the best titles on Nintendo Switch that Nintendo has made. So you have to be doing a player select thing, Nintendo. I mean, what in the world's happening right now? I mean, it's Mario Odyssey. That is huge. Of course, we covered that game, so you can check out our full coverage on the channel. And that was an uploaded series, so there's a lot of episodes of that. But Amber and I just love that game. Splatoon 2 was a hit and miss for us, but again, that is a game that is still being played quite a bit by people on Nintendo Switch. While Splatoon 1 never got a remaster for the Switch, Splatoon 2 did end up coming to the Switch, and people love that game. In fact, I've heard people still play it more than Splatoon 3. So the fact that that is going to slowly disappear at, retailers across the country, I mean, if I was a Nintendo marketing person, I'd be ripping my hair out, because it'd be like, you're getting rid of Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Metroid Dread, and Xenoblade Chronicles, as well as Fire Emblem Three Houses? What is happening? We are re-releasing these games, right? Because this is suicide. Like, we're so close to passing the PS2 in lifetime sales. What are you doing, Nintendo? I mean, Super Mario Maker 2. Okay, that one is a no-brainer. That game has really not been popular anymore. So, I mean, that totally makes sense. Again, we covered that game. I know I sound like a broken record, but we cover hundreds of games a year. So, it's always interesting for me to see these lists of games that are, not only going up in collector's value, but also being taken away from retailers, because it's like, oh yeah, I remember covering that game. And lastly, we have Mario Battle Strikers, which is that soccer game that was... It was okay. I mean, it wasn't my favorite Mario Strikers game, but, it was relatively new, and I believe that came out during the pandemic, so again, that game is just... It's not that old. So, I mean, what are you doing, Nintendo? 17 games are being taken away from retailers, like, very soon. Like, they're not getting new copies of these games. Once they're gone, they're gone. So, I mean, you have to be releasing a player select thing, because it doesn't make any sense. There's no problem with these games. None of these games have any, like, major issues. All these games were fun. All these games did moderately well for Nintendo. And I know, whispers about Nintendo Switch 2 are on the horizon, and it makes sense for Nintendo to kind of be like, okay, we're not going to be producing any more of this stuff. But at the same time, if the Switch 2 is backwards compatible, people who haven't gotten an opportunity to play these games, this is a very, very surprising move. And I just don't know where Nintendo's head is, unless, of course, we're finally getting the player select option, where they're going to slash the price on some of these amazing titles. But who knows what Nintendo's doing? Now we want to hear from all of you guys and gals. What do you think Nintendo's doing? You think they're paving the way for the Switch 2? Or they're finally going to announce the player selects at this upcoming Nintendo Direct? Because, I mean, February is just next month, and that's when the rumored Direct is happening. I mean, I don't know what to think. I'm almost at a loss for words. Seeing all these titles on this list here, I'm just kind of like, really, Nintendo? But anyway, that's it, that's all. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate you guys watching these topic videos. Any help you can do by liking and sharing the video would be awesome. If this could get up to 100 likes, that would really make our day. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any topics you would like to see on this channel about Nintendo or gaming in general, let us know. And we'll see you guys live later today with an awesome live stream on something else. Until then, God bless and happy gaming. Thanks for watching.